Chapter 1. Printing. When personal computers first appeared, people began to talk of the paperless office. Everything would be done on computer, and there would be no need for paper copies. This didn't happen. The new computers come with desktop printers, and now more, not fewer, pages are printed. The story of printing is a long one, and it continues today. The beginning. Imagine that you are printer working in China around 1,000 years ago. Paper, a Chinese invention, had already been in use for thousands of years. You produce printed books, but these are very expensive because they are difficult to make. To print just a single page of a book, you have to take a wooden board and cut into it until all the words and pictures stand up from the wood. After that, you spread ink over the board, turn it upside down onto a piece of paper, and press hard. And when you have made a board for all the other pages and printed enough copies of the book, there is no possibility of reusing them. This system is quicker than writing each book by hand, but it is still very slow. It takes you and other printers a very long time to make one book. Fortunately, sometime between the years 1041 and 1048, a man called Patient had an idea. He started to make small blocks, and on each of these he cut one word to form a page. Patient bought a number of smaller blocks together. After the page was printed, the blocks could be used again. The new method quickly spread through China, then into Korea, Vietnam, the Philippines, and Japan with reusable type. Books and education became much cheaper, so many ordinary people were able to get better jobs. The 19th century and later. After Jotboard, there were very few real improvements to printing until the 19th century. This had always been possible to include pictures by using cut wooden boards, which were later made of metal. In 1719, Kojeb Cherstoli-Bon of Frankfurt, Germany, started using 3 separate blocks covered with blue, yellow, and red ink. These were pressed onto the paper one after another to produce fully covered pictures. The first water-powered press was suggested around 1500 by the Italian Leonardo da Vinci, and in time this was actually used. The next step forward didn't happen until 1810, when Friedrich Koenig of Germany invented the steam press. The paper was placed around a tube, which then moved across the type. Soon afterward, Koenig began to use a second tube, so the press made a print forward and backward. Johann Walter, the winner of the Times newspaper in London, bought two steam presses in 1814, each printed 1,100 sheets an hour. At the same time, printers couldn't work very quickly because all the pages of type from one page had to be taken out and then put together again for the next page. In 1838, this changed when a new machine was invented in New York. This could heat the old type until it became liquid and make new letters. It was much faster than the old system. 4 years later, another machine was invented which could put the letters together. It had a keyboard like a piano, and the operator only had to hit the case to produce a page. For some time, a second operator was needed to make the lines of type the same length. Then, in 1886, a new machine appeared which could do both operations at the same time. It could place 6,000 letters an hour and was soon in use around the world. The enormous growth of printing led to a great increase in the amount of paper used for newspapers, magazines, and books. After 1970, so many trees were cut down that there was a danger of changing the world's climate. In recent years, people have worked hard to solve this problem. At the end of the 20th century, there was a move away from hot metal to computerized printing, and the old methods began to pass into history. A printer used to be someone who could make readable pages out of hot metal. Now, it is a desktop machine that delivers good quality pages at high speed. The work of Gutenberg and his followers is now done inside a computer.